Stop watching anime without learning Japanese. Hey Nakamas, today I wanted to help you actually learn Japanese and Japanese culture while watching Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba. So if you want to be able to speak like Tanjiro, Rengoku, or maybe even Muzan, Jackson, here are 7 major scenes from Demon Slayer to help you actually learn Japanese and begin your training arc. First scene is He means fire and kami means god. No is a possessive particle, so god of fire. And kagura is an actual ceremonial dance done by the Shinto religion of Japan. But you might ask, what is the god of fire? Why are we dancing? Are we doing the renegade? What are we doing? Goddess of fire is actually Amaterasu, and she is the #1 sun god in the Shinto religion. And kagura is a dedicated dance for her that's performed in Japanese festivals so that she would come out and give us sun. If this is a lot and you don't know how to even get started on learning Japanese, I made a Skillshare course for the first step on your training arc to learning Japanese in the description below. It goes over Hiragana, which is the basic alphabet in Japanese you have to know. Second, from the butterfly queen herself. Hi!
頑張ってますね。お友達2人はどこかへ行ってしまったのに。一人で寂しくないですか?
So moshi moshi means hello, can you hear me? And it's used the most often on the phone. So you would basically say moshi moshi before you could hear the other person, and the other person would say moshi moshi back until he hears you or she hears it. Some people say you say moshi twice because Japanese ghosts somehow can't say moshi twice, so it's to clarify that other person's not a ghost, but honestly no one knows about that. It's more of a phrase. Try saying moshi moshi when you pick up the phone next time and confuse the other person. And then ganbatte imasu ne comes from the word gambaru, which means to try your best, and imasu ne makes it a state, so you are right now trying your best, I see. And she said it in a very soft, kind, yet ominous voice that she has because she's secretly angry. And then she says otomodachi, which is basically tomodachi, which is friend, and o kind of makes it polite for that noun. Futari is a counter for 2 people. Counters exist in Japanese, you gotta know it. Dokoka is somewhere else that I don't even know. And itte shimatta comes from the word iku, which means to go, and itte shimatta is a conjugation that means unfortunately someone has gone away. Not dead, just literally gone somewhere away physically. Finally, she says hitori de, which means one person, but alone in this context. And then sabishikunai comes from sabishi, which means lonely. Sabishikunai, which means you're not lonely. Desu ka makes it a question. So basically, alone, aren't you lonely? But aren't you lonely being alone? I'm curious, what would you do if you were in Tanjiro's situation? Would you be blushing? Would you try to talk to her? I don't know. It's surprising. What would you do? Would you try to look cool? Would you just freak out? I don't know. What would you do? Hopefully, you could speak Japanese to her, you know? Third, Rengoku himself.
俺は俺の責務を全うする。ここにいる者は誰も死なせない。炎の呼吸。 奥義心を燃やせ限界を超えろ負の型煉獄や
俺の責務を全うする Orewa is a cool masculine way of saying I. Oreno, again, is my because of the particle. Sekimu means responsibility that has to be held, and matto suru means I will finish it till the very end. This is kind of a little bit of an slightly older way of speaking, but it's kind of cool that way. ここにいるものは誰も死なせない。ここに means here. いるものは means living things that are here. 誰も means no one. 死なせない comes from the word 死ぬ which means to die, but 死なせない means I won't let it die. So I won't let anyone here die. So opposite of 死ね die. 死なせない I won't let you die. And then he goes, 炎の呼吸. Hono meaning flame and kokyu meaning breath or breathing. Ogi is a word that's used for the most important and the hardest part of any art form. It could be dancing, it could be writing, singing. Ogi is the hardest part of any of those. And kokoro o moyase. Kokoro is a very popular word that's used in Japan a lot, and it means heart, soul, your whole being. It's kind of like your existence itself, but technically soul. And moyase means to let it burn, like you make it burn and continuously. And then genkai o koero. Genkai means limit, and then koero means to surpass it. So that's where it comes from. Genkai o koero, surpass your limit, or limit surpass. Finally, kunokata. Ku meaning 9, kata meaning form, Rengoku or Rengoku. Rengoku actually ironically comes from Christianity, and it technically means purgatory in the Christian religion. And this is a state of final purification where you're purified by flame and then you go to heaven. So I guess technically Rengoku is purifying you when he does his final technique so that you could go to heaven, perhaps. Akaza, you haven't been the best person, so I don't know if you're going to heaven, but Rengoku did not successfully purge you. Fourth, Gyu's little pep talk in the beginning.
わかるよ。俺があと半日早く来ていれば、お前の家族は死んでなかったかもしれない。しかし、時を巻いて戻す術はない。
わかるよ comes from the word wakaru to understand. Wakaru is I understand. I'm connecting and I understand what you're going through. 俺があと半日早く来ていれば。俺が you know this from the masculine I. 半日 is half a day. あと is about, and then 早く is earlier. 来ていれば。来て comes from the word come. いれば is if I have done that. お前の家族は死んでなかったかもしれない。お前の your 家族 family 死んでなかった。might have not have died. かもしれない is a little bit more of might not have. It could have been. しかし、時を巻いて戻す術はない。しかし is like an older kind of formal way of saying unfortunately, but. 時を巻いて is a cool way of saying winding back the time. 時 is time, and 巻いて means to wind back. And 戻す means to return it, and then 術はない means there is no choice or tools to make that happen, to accomplish that. So that's the Japanese way of saying there's no way of winding back the tick of time. 時を戻す術はない. Say that when you go to Japan when something unfortunate happens, and they'll be like, oh my god. That was a cool line. 5, a little bit of Muzan when he talks to Daki for some reason. Let's go through it.
ダキ、私の支配から逃れた鬼がいる。玉代のように。見つけて始末してくれ。お前にしか頼めない。
Daki, 私の支配から逃れた鬼がいる。私の is a gender neutral way of saying my. 支配 is like total control. Not more than just control, but literally you have every control or authority upon that thing. Kara is from. Nogare means it slipped away, ran away, or it's a little bit more slipped away. And then oni ga iru. Oni is demon, and gairu is ga is a particle, and iru is exists. Tamayo no yoni. Tamayo is a name, and no is like so, and yoni is similar to that. 見つけて始末してくれ。見つけて means to find. 始末 literally means to take care, but we all know it means to kill. Or you would take care of it by killing it. してくれ is can you do that for me? お前にしか頼めない。お前 you しか only 頼めない。I could only ask you to ask. Creepy guy. Muzan, I don't know why he looks like Muzan Jackson. It may be intentional, maybe not, but you know what? I wouldn't want him as my boss. I would not. 6, the classic Zenitsu.
雷の呼吸、一の型。霹靂一閃。
So the full thing is 雷の呼吸、一の型。霹靂一閃。Kaminari means thunder, kokyu, breathing. Ichi no kata. Ichi means one, kata is form. Hekireki is a very old term to say like a sound, like a loud sound just like thunder that came out of nowhere. And isen is a little flash of light that passes right by you. Isen. It could also be used as a metaphor when you have a spark of an idea. Finally, shinsoku means Godspeed, so that's when he uses it, I guess, in the second arc. Don't be afraid to say it with me one more time. Kaminari no kokyu, ichi no kata. Hekireki isen, shinsoku. Hopefully you were able to say it with me. 7th, a little bit of ending funny moment.
髪を黒く染めろ。でもこれ地毛。口答えするな！理不尽！
髪を黒く染めろ。Kami means hair in this context. Kuroku is to make it black, and somero means to dye it. でもこれは地毛。Demo means but. Jige literally means my hair. Kuchi gotai suruna literally means kuchi, which means mouth. Gotai means to answer, and suruna is don't. So don't answer with your mouth. It's like a teacher kind of authority way down saying stop talking. don't respond to me. And Rifujing means unreasonable, or it doesn't make any sense. This is funny because I hear something on the internet sometimes where someone that's blonde or half like Japanese that's blonde goes to a Japanese school in Japan and they get yelled at for having not black hair, because almost everyone that's Japanese will have black hair, and they will be like, oh, of course you dyed it. But like in Zenitsu's case, it's not always dyed non-black. Like, it could be your own hair color, and that should be okay. That's what Zenitsu's seen. I think a lot of the fans will also agree that it should be okay, and Gyu's definitely being more unreasonable, but they're making light of that and they're making a funny joke out of that. So there goes a little bit of awareness in the Japanese culture. If your hair is not black, you should be okay, unless Gyu is your teacher, then you might get smacked around. Thanks for watching. More videos coming. Subscribe to join the Nakama, and peace.